little comment from Change the Logo says, so far I'm liking Tavo, but the rest of the signings have all been a big meh. Maroon, Smith, Martinez, Brody, Mikheyev, Bertuzzi all feel like replacement level guys. I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I think that especially Alec Martinez has been really, really good. They need more from Bertuzzi. Absolutely, 100%. I've liked Mikheyev's defensive play, but they brought him in to be another scoring option. I'm actually writing that for my Blackhawks beat, which will be out tomorrow morning, about the lack of offense and where it might come from. And those are some of the names mentioned. But we talked about it in the postgame yesterday. Like, it can't all be on Bedard and Foligno and Teravainen and Jones every night. Yeah. It's just not. The only other guys who have scored are Kurashev and Donato.
Right.
That's it.
And Donato was scratched last night.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would also like all of those guys to be contributing a little bit more. Still early in the season, as we found out last night. It's the 5th game of the year where Tyler Bertuzzi decides to usually show up. So tomorrow night he should have a big game, hopefully.
7-point game.
Can't wait for it. But yeah, Bertuzzi would like to see a little bit more impact consistently in the game. TJ Brody has been rough at times, but also, like, he had a few plays last night where you're like, hey, there it is. Do more of that. Like, defensively. Pat Maroon, I feel like, has so far been what he was supposed to be. Is kind of, a guy that's going to be physical, a guy that's going to play around the net. If you expect more than that from Pat Maroon, you probably are going to be disappointed. But, any contributions he can make on the score sheet is really, gravy at this point in his career. But being a physical presence, being a guy who has deceptively good hands for how big he is. Yes, he is slow. But I think that's the role he's going to play. Craig Smith got to kind of figure out exactly what he's going to be doing for this team, because in the 2 games he's played in, not really a big impact positively for the Blackhawks so far. We know he's a hardworking guy, veteran guy. He's got a good shot, got a good motor, but I would like to see a little bit more impact from him if he's going to be in the lineup consistently. So I would say through 4 games, it hasn't been, all the new additions haven't been pushing the team as a whole. So I would like to see a little bit more, but let's give it a few more games before we are benching guys or trading these guys who are on 1-year deals earlier than potentially February.
Yeah, I mean, the only guys that were really brought in that were counted on for any consistent offense were Tavo, who leads the team in scoring right now,
right,
and Bertuzzi. And Mikheyev was more of a gamble of like, he's done it before. Maybe we can unlock something in him. And he also brings some other stuff to the table that even if he doesn't score, it can help.
Yeah, if he can be a point producer in a third-line role, that's great.
If he can be basically a Jason Dickinson that plays the wing, plays good defense, has good speed and size, and throw in 15 to 18 goals, that's a good.
That would be amazing.
That's kind of, I think, what they were eyeballing for him.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, Mario, Maroon is doing exactly what he was brought in here to do.
Yeah.
If you were expecting him to be a 20-goal scorer, that's kind of on you, because that's not anymore.
Has he ever scored 20?
I don't think so. Maybe early in his career with Anaheim, or maybe I think that year in Edmonton he had over 20. But everybody had 20 goals when you play with Connor McDavid. So except Connor McDavid.
He scored 27 in 16-17.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's going to take a little time to get all these guys going. I know they're veterans and all that stuff, but you're still playing with new teammates. You're still figuring each other out, tendencies. And the only way you figure that stuff out, you could practice all you want, but passing to each other in practice is not passing to each other in a game.
Yeah.
With a giant defenseman bearing down on you and structure and all that stuff. So it should start this homestand. They're going to get home. They're going to next 4 games are at home, which means they're going to have a lot of practice in between games. No travel. I think you're really going to start seeing things gel over these next 4 games. I think Luke will start figuring out his combinations a little better. And then, you'll after this 4-game homestand, let's revisit and see what we think of these new guys. But as you mentioned, and as I wrote in Morning Chirps this morning, I'm not hitting the panic button on Tyler Bertuzzi, but at some point we got to see something more than just, he's not even hitting people.
Yeah.
He's got 4 hits in 4 games. I mean, he's supposed to be this physical agitator type player that can score 20, 24 goals, whatever. And it's just like if you look at his advanced stats, they're fine, but it's the eye test that he's not passing right now. It just seems it's just a lot of skating without a purpose right now. Maybe that has to do with playing with new line mates and trying to figure out, maybe there's a little pressure living up to a 4-year contract, $22 million contract.
Yeah, that's probably the part. We definitely saw that from Seth Jones when he came here, was trying to justify the money and not really playing his game. And I think you're also looking at Bertuzzi, who's on his 4th team in 4 years.
He's going to hit all the original
Detroit,
6.
Boston, Toronto, Chicago. Was that all
1 year stints?
That's 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He went from Detroit to Boston, then signed with Toronto.
Yeah.
And now, so he's on his 4th team in 2 years.
Yeah. So I think what we're seeing when I'm watching him play, I'm seeing a guy who is
thinking
a little bit uncertain, a little bit. Yeah. I don't think it's a lack of commitment or wanting to be good or wanting to compete hard. I just think it's okay, let's figure each other out here. You also have Taylor Hall, who's only played 10 games as a Hawk, up until this year. So everyone's starting to learn each other. And I think that is certainly more difficult to do on the road. We also should not undersell the fact that it's Utah's franchise opener, Winnipeg's home opener, the Oilers they beat, and then Calgary, who's undefeated. Like it was a tougher start to the season than expected. Now, if this continues through San Jose, through Buffalo, etc., and they're not looking good or gelling at home either, then I think you worry. But again, Bertuzzi started slow in Toronto last year, and every month that went by, his production got better and better and better and better as he found his way.
He went from having popular podcasters screaming for him to get off the Maple Leafs.
That guy always screams, but
yes. It was a mad scream, not a normal scream. To in the summertime, a lot of Maple Leaf fans wanted to keep Bertuzzi and not re-sign Domi. They were upset they chose Domi over Bertuzzi.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you for
Cool. Thanks. Appreciate it.
That was weird. If you didn't hear that, my Apple assistant lady went off in my pocket.
Jay's phone lady has a kink for Max Domi, apparently.
I mean, really, who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Tyler Bertuzzi's career splits by month. Found this interesting. 46 career games played in October, 33 points. 68 career games played in November, 36 points. 48 career games played in December, 25 points. January, here we go. 75 career games, 50 career points. February, 65 career games played, 35 points. March, 73 career games played, 53 points. And then April, it's actually, as far as points percentage goes, April's his best month. 34 games played in his career, 29 points.
There you go.
All right.
So I cannot wait for January, March, and April for Tyler Bertuzzi.
Too bad the Winter Classic's in December.
Well, I mean, and not to spoil it, but for the Blackhawks beat, like one of the things I'm writing is like, yeah, he's a guy who was a historically slow starter, but those teams had the luxury of being able to wait for Tyler Bertuzzi because they had Austin Matthews or they had Brad Marchand and Pasta and like all these guys that could do it. Right now, the Hawks need him to start producing. And frankly, that line in general. I think as we look at the three of them, Hall, Kurashev, Bertuzzi, the other two, we've been pretty pleased. Okay, they're playing fine.
Yeah.
But they're not, the results haven't come.
Mm-hmm.
We need to see the results. And I think I was looking at the numbers. And I think that Hall has 9 shots on goal. Bertuzzi has 7. And I think that's good for, second and third on the team. They're tied with a bunch of guys.
Sure.
But so the shots are there. I feel like that line just doesn't possess the puck very much. It's a lot of either one and dones or zone time without a result.
Yeah.
Hopefully with some of these lesser opponents, with some home field, home ice line matchup dictating, they'll be able to just get better matchups and spend some time. I think once they have a night where maybe 2 of the 3 of them get a goal, it might open the floodgates a little bit, because I think every game that goes by and the points don't come, they're going to feel that stress about it too. Like, God, Taylor Hall's feeling that.
Yeah.
Because until that puck goes in that net, Taylor Hall's going to feel like, am I ever going to be Taylor Hall again?
Yeah, that's going to be a monkey off the back type of feeling for him. I would imagine. Yeah, and maybe tomorrow's game is kind of that jolt for some of these guys. They you start the season on a road trip, and you're trying to gel and get the new guy vibes off of you and kind of feel like intertwined into the locker room, and then you come back to Chicago. It's a familiar place where you started working out this summer, and you get some practice, time, some ice time back at the Fifth Third and the UC. You get the home crowd cheering you. You're going to have the home opener tomorrow. It's going to be the red carpet event. Like, you get that juice going, and then that can maybe be a little bit of an injection of like, all right, now you get some of that going. You get these guys into a different gear now that we get to the home portion of the schedule.
I would imagine being on the ice for the anthem wearing the home jersey is a different feel than when you're the visitor.
Yeah.
And that anthem's going to be nice and loud.
Yeah.
I know they played some preseason games, but they only had a half full arena. So
I would think this is going to be a sold out game.
I would
close
imagine
to it. Home opener.
The energy will be high. Yeah. I think there still is a lot of positivity around this team, especially with the way they played on the road. I think if they came back with 3 points, but they lost 6-0 in those 3 losses. But as we've seen from our comments in the post game shows and today, the majority of the fan base is happy with the effort. And a team that is going to go out there and work and try hard is usually a favorite with the fans. So the energy will be up tomorrow. So hopefully that translates into some, gripping the stick a little looser and just going out there and playing with your instincts.
We all silly like the mayor.